Hold on, just go in and make the mark for me.
It's right there. Right there. See it?
Gotcha. Okay, let me back out. And then you can start again in just a second.
Alright.
Okay.
Just pull that out one more time. I've got my mark right there, and now I can cut this stuff with my regular cutters. You see right there on the mark? Just squeeze it and kind of turn it a little bit. Give it a little bit more. And then watch that. Cuts it clean as a whistle. Now with something with CPVC, especially older stuff, and I've been putting my hands all over this, you can see it's a little bit dirty. See that stuff right there? We want to go ahead, just like a copper pipe, we want to go ahead and just take it and hit it with some sandpaper or some primer. You can use primer if you like. Chemical primer, it's kind of messy. I find that you just hit it with a little bit of sandcloth, you're good to go. Now, we'll get our glue. Okay. And I'm going to put that right there. Give it a little bit of a twist. Again, use our cloth or rag to clean it up, make it look good, help it cure. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and stick this up on the riser, and I'll probably get this a little closer. I'm going to put some glue up on the shower riser pipe that's coming down, and I'm also going to put a little glue around the male adapter. Okay, we got that up in there on the riser. We'll just put these temporarily in the sides to hold it up. Let the cure set, the glue cure just a little bit. Go ahead and clean it off. It's hard to see because it's kind of up a little bit. I didn't want to make my hole any higher than I had to. So that's where we're at. Okay, I'm going to have this pipe pushed right in, and make sure that that pipe's coming out of the wall very straight. And then I'll reach down on the copper pipe that I have coming out, and I'm going to get a good mark on it. Now I'm going to take my rigid mini cutters. I'm going to go ahead and put it inside the wall and make sure you don't drop it, because otherwise you got to go fishing for it. Put it right on in here. I'm going to tighten this up. And that's right about where that pipe came through, and that's where my elbow will come through the wall. So I'll just go ahead and turn that. All right. It looks like I can feel it. I can feel it start to go through the pipe. So there it is, see? You can actually feel when you get close to being through the pipe, and you want to be careful because, again, you don't want to drop it. Very important when you're sweating pipes is to have it completely clean. No oils, hand oils, or any other. Sometimes they put a coat of anti-corrosion stuff on there to keep the copper nice and bright. You want to get rid of that. I don't know if you can see it down there how shiny it is. That's what you want. Now we'll take this, go ahead and shine the end of this. And we got our elbow, 1/2 inch sweat elbow. And this is actually a 3/4 brush. I've always liked using 3/4 on 1/2 because it's really tight, and when you push it in there, it'll really clean it good. And ready to go. Okay, we got our piece of pipe here. Go ahead and shove it through the wall. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back. I'm gonna slip the elbow on there. Like that, all the way on. If you take it and you kind of flip it down, sometimes you can just put it right on there. Just like that. There it is right there, okay? Now here's a very important thing. I need to push this valve straight with the shower unit. This is a fiberglass shower unit. You want to push it straight. And then it's very important that piece of pipe comes straight out of the wall. Okay, we're getting ready to do the most difficult part for most people, and that is we're going to be soldering a joint in the wall. And if you're going to do something like this, you need to have a little bit of experience soldering before you put flame inside of a wall. One thing I would recommend is pulling back any insulation or anything that's near it, and maybe even have a glass of water handy. Actually, that's a little trick, is to have a little glass of water. I don't need it because I can tell that this one has a lot of room around it. But if it was a tight area, I might have a glass of water with me, and if I light a piece of wood on fire, I might be able to just put a little bit on the embers and just make sure it goes out all the way. I mean, it's pretty hard to light up a house, but it can happen. So you want to make sure all your combustibles are as far away as possible. Okay, we got some little flame here. top part. Okay. Perfect. All right. Just keep loading it up a little bit. Helps. Again, we're going to check all these joints when we're done to make sure that they're good. That's right where it needs to be, and we're going to go ahead and glue these, the hot and the cold in, so we can have them, give them a little chance to set up. You want to give at least 15 to 20 minutes, preferably half an hour or longer. So one is the hot out. We've already cleaned it. Everything's cleaned up. Again, you don't want to go overboard on putting too much of this around everything because you got a shower valve here. You don't really want to get glue stuck inside all the internal parts. So we'll put what we need to put on there. Make sure it's good. Pull it over. Just push it right in. Take the other one, what I believe to be the cold. Go ahead and one thing about CPVC glue is you really want to be careful on flooring, especially linoleum. It'll melt right through the top layer of the linoleum almost instantly. So you don't want to get it over everything. Make sure you have it protected. Make sure your can doesn't get tipped over. Okay, we'll push that in there and wipe off the excess. And that's how the back side's going to look on installing a shower valve. Everything on this side is pretty much done. We do need to check everything out again. You don't take for granted anything, but this is how it'll look. You'll have the shower riser, the hot and the cold, and your tub spout coming out and going out the hole into the tub. And we'll go on the other side and start seeing about putting this thing in. Okay, here we are. You can see that it's kind of loose. I will show you how we're going to tighten that up from the back and from the front. We're going to go ahead and put our plate on first. Let's put this right here. Screws should line up with a hole right there, and then they'll go through and they'll actually thread into the back of the valve. That one has hit, it's in the hole. This one right here. That one right there just hit, and it's in the hole. Take our screwdriver. Tighten that up. You'll see that that'll start to tighten up the handle quite a bit. Okay, these get pretty tight. Again, nothing needs to be over tight. When you see it start distorting the plate, you definitely want to stop. We use this. This is the first part of the trim. This will hide our screws, make it look nice and good. Right there. This particular pop-up has the O-ring connection. You see that right there? It has a set screw. It's right there, and it has an O-ring that seals it. Some of them have threads that are really deep in there. If that's the case, then you have to measure with the measuring tape. You take a measuring tape and you measure the inside to where the threads start. Then you add 1/4 inch, and then that's what you would measure out here. Usually it's 4 inches, and what I do is I take my male adapter and lay it right on the pipe at 4 inches, and then I can go back to where the fitting actually is to sweat on, and then sweat a male adapter on, and then thread my spout on there. With these kind of spouts, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to make sure that your pipe is longer than that O-ring and the set screw. So anywhere around in here would be fine on this. Just make sure your pipe is nice and clean. You can't have any scratches or anything like that because that O-ring is going to seal it. All right. I'm going to take my cutter. There was a little bit of tape here, and I cleaned off that tape, made sure it was really clean. Let's take my cutter. I'll just cut this off. Most of the time these O-ring ones come with the actual wrench that goes with it. So we'll just loosen this up, make sure it's not in the way, in which it's not. We'll take it, put it on the pipe, and just slide it in, just like that. Now, we definitely want to make sure that we're all the way past, so we're going to pull that out a little bit. Okay, there it is, nice and tight. Okay, now we'll go on the back side and we'll see about tightening it up a little bit. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the wood and put it right behind everything. I had to use a little piece of the drywall to shim it right. Okay, put it right there. Put our screws back in it. We'll just tighten those up. You don't want to have these screws too long. You don't want to go through the tub. So about an inch, inch and a half is all you need. Okay, and that's right there. Push it down as far as we can. Now we'll go tighten that up, and that thing will be really solid. Okay. Okay, now we're ready to put the handle on. We're going to put the set screw in there. Tighten it up. There's also an index button that goes right there, covers it all up. Okay, that's good. Now we'll just do the shower head. Anytime you're working with CPVC, I don't know if that's a CPVC wing in there. I hope it isn't, but we don't know, so you got to be really careful. So let's go ahead and take this. Oh, it doesn't feel real good. On something like this, I will go ahead and take the head off, remove the escutcheon, thank God. Sometimes you gotta sweat though, sometimes you don't know how that's gonna go. You can just snap off in the wall, and you have to go dig for it up so high. Well, it came right out. This is the shower arm, and I've done the same thing with our other threaded fittings. I've put Teflon on them and pipe dope. It helps tighten the thread, tighten it up easier because it helps lubricate the threads. We'll go ahead and start this real easy. Okay, nice and good. Now here's the trick to putting these in. Sometimes the finishes might be polished brass, sometimes it might be chrome, brushed nickel, old rub bronze, all kinds of different flavors now. And the trick to doing these without scuffing up your threads too much is just to take a piece of 1/2 inch copper, and it fits right on the inside. And then you can just tighten it up without using a pair of pliers. And you don't want to over tighten these things because of the CPVC aspect or any other reason. That's about all you need right there. Just tightening up the shower head here by hand at first. I guess right about right there. We'll go ahead and get a pair of pliers. Very easily we'll grab a hold of it. We don't want to mar it up. Just a little tighter than hand tight. That'll be plenty right there. Just cutting out for the access panel to finish up the job. Would be a nice tight fit. That looks pretty good. Go ahead and put a few screws in that.